At 75, Suzi Quatro reveals shocking truth about Happy Days. Suzi Quatro was born Susan K. Quatro on June 3, 1950, in Detroit, Michigan. Growing up in a musical family, Suzi was surrounded by rhythm and melody from an early age. Her father, Art Quatro, was a semi-professional musician who led a jazz band, while her mother, Helen, supported her children's artistic pursuits. Suzi and her siblings, including her sister Patty Quatro, who also became a musician, were deeply steeped in the world of music. As a child, Suzi learned to play piano and percussion. But by the age of 14, she found her true passion, the bass guitar. Drawn to the deep, pulsing sound of the instrument, she made it her own, with the same energy and confidence that would later define her career. In 1964, Suzi and her sisters formed an all-girl band called the Pleasure Seekers, which would become one of the earliest girl groups to attract attention in the United States. They covered popular hits and wrote original material as they toured nationwide, recording singles like Never Thought You'd Leave Me. Their popularity set Suzi on the way towards stardom. In the late 1960s, they reformed into a new group, Cradle, a heavier, more experimental rock band that showed Suzi's burgeoning confidence both as frontwoman and bassist. It was here that her fiery stage presence and unique voice started to get attention, including British record producer Mickey M.O., who signed her to RAK Records and invited her to England. When Suzi landed in the UK in 1971, she was stepping into a whole different musical universe, the heart of the glam revolution. She proved herself quickly enough. Her first single, Can the Can 1973, became a huge hit, topping several countries' charts, including those of the UK, Germany, and Australia. The song's grimy, energetic style and Suzi's confident, raspy vocals marked her as a new kind of rock icon. Not just a performer, but a trailblazer. Her follow-up hits, such as 48 Crash, Devil Gate Drive, The Wild One, and If You Can't Give Me Love, galvanized her reputation as an international superstar. Her music combined the potent rhythms of rock with addictive melodies, and her image, garbed in tight leather and wielding a bass guitar, became iconic. What made Suzi Quatro so revolutionary was not only what she sounded like, but what she was. She didn't fit the mold of a typical female performer of her era. She wasn't soft-spoken pop singer or background figure. Instead, she commanded the stage with the same authority and swagger as her male counterparts, proving that women could rock just as hard, and often harder. She inspired countless artists who followed, including Joan Jett, Debbie Harry, Tina Weymouth, and Chrissie Hynde, among others who have frequently cited her as a major influence. It wasn't just Quatro's chart-topping singles. She paved the way for the rise of women within rock bands and gave much-needed visibility to female instrumentalists at a time when such a sight was seldom seen. Outside of her musical career, Suzi would also become a familiar face upon television. In the late 1970s, she appeared on the popular American sitcom Happy Days, in which she played Leather Tuscadero, a tough yet talented rock musician and sister of Pinky Tuscadero. Her role showcased her natural charisma and brought her into the homes of millions of viewers who might not have known her from their rock career. Her appearance on Happy Days cemented her place as a pop culture icon, proof that she could make the leap from music to acting without losing an edge or ounce of authenticity. Throughout the decades, Suzi continued to record and perform, showing that her passion for music remained unabated. She issued numerous albums, including Suzi and other four-letter words Agoraphobia and No Control, each one reflecting her maturing artistry and lifelong commitment to rock and roll. And she toured extensively, captivating an entire array of audiences across Europe, Australia, and well beyond, often playing to audiences of fans who grew up with her music, as well as to new generations just discovering her. Suzi Quatro's personal life has been as dynamic and eventful as her groundbreaking career in rock and roll. In 1976, at the height of her fame, she married her longtime guitarist and musical collaborator, Len Tucky, a partnership that melded both romance and rock. Tucky had played an integral part in her touring band and creative process, contributing to her signature sound that fused glam rock, punk energy, and bluesy grit. Their marriage epitomized a deep connection rooted in the music, passion, and mutual respect for the craft. Together, they became one of the most recognizable power couples in the British rock scene of the late 1970s and early 1980s. However, the grind of unceasing touring, fame, and the challenges of balancing personal and professional lives eventually took their toll. Despite their shared successes and devotion to their children, the marriage came to an end in 1992 after 16 years together. It was a difficult but amicable split, which Quatro has since reflected on with grace and understanding. During their years together, Quatro and Tucky built a family and a home that became a cornerstone of stability amidst the chaos of show business. They welcomed 2 children whom Suzi has always described as the center of her world. Determined to give them a sense of normalcy, she balanced her life on stage with her role of mother. In 1980, the couple purchased a beautiful manor house near Chelmsford in Essex, England, a property that would remain an important part of Quatro's life for decades. Nestled in the countryside, the manor served as both a retreat from the public eye and a creative haven where she could write, compose, and recharge. It became a place of family memories, birthdays, Christmases, and quiet evenings spent away from the roar of the crowd. Even after her divorce from Tucky, Quatro continued to live there with her children, maintaining it as a symbol of family continuity and independence. In 1993, Suzi Quatro's life took another turn when she married Rainer Hose, a respected German concert promoter. Hasse's world of music promotion complemented Suzi's lifelong dedication to performing, and their relationship opened new personal and professional chapters for her. Their marriage also strengthened her connection to Europe, especially Germany, where she had long enjoyed a devoted fan base. Quatro found and has both companionship and encouragement to continue evolving as an artist. Together, they navigated a life that balanced her English roots, her American heritage, and her European stardom. By 2006, Quatro's family ties once again deepened at the Essex Manor when her daughter and grandchild moved back in, filling the house with youthful energy and laughter. The return of multiple generations under one roof reminded Suzi of the importance of home, continuity, and love. Despite her global fame, she has always cherished her role as a mother and grandmother above all else. Yet, as life moved forward, change was inevitable. Toward the end of 2008, her children eventually moved out to pursue their own paths, leaving Quatro once again in an empty house. She admitted to feeling the pangs of empty nest syndrome, a sentiment familiar to many parents watching their children step into the world. For a brief period, she even considered selling the manor, reflecting a moment of transition and introspection in her life. Ultimately, Suzi Quatro chose to keep the home, recognizing its deep emotional significance. Today, she continues to divide her time between Essex, Hamburg, and Detroit, the 3 cities that reflect her rich, multi-layered identity. Essex represents her quiet domestic life and English career roots. Hamburg connects her to her European fan base and her husband's cultural background. And Detroit remains her birthplace, a reminder of the city that first gave rise to her rock and roll dreams. Living across these 3 locks allows her to stay close to the people and places that have shaped her extraordinary journey. Even now, Suzi Quatro maintains a perfect balance between her private world and her life as an enduring icon, proof that true rock legends never really slow down. They simply evolve. At 75 years old, Suzi Quatro, the legendary rock and roll trailblazer known for her leather jumpsuits, thunderous bass lines, and unapologetic attitude, has once again made headlines, this time by revealing some surprising truths about her time on the hit television series Happy Days. The revelation sent waves through both the music and television worlds as fans who adored her as Leather Tuscadero finally got to hear the unfiltered story straight from the icon herself. For decades, her stint on Happy Days was remembered as one of the most exciting crossovers between rock music and primetime television. But now, Quattro has opened up about what it was really like behind the scenes, the challenges, the pressure, and the unforgettable friendships that shaped that chapter of her life. When I first got the call about Happy Days, Suzi explained, I honestly thought it was a joke. I was a full-time rock musician, touring the world, playing bass, and living out a suitcase. Acting in a sitcom was the last thing on my mind. But when I heard the role was a tough girl rocker named Leather Tuscadero, I thought, well, that's basically me. Quattro's laugh carried a mix of fondness and nostalgia, as she described how the role was tailor-made for her. Yet, she admitted to having to fight hard to prove herself to the producers and to some of the cast members who weren't so sure if a real rock star could handle scripted television. They thought I'd show up and not know how to act, she said. But I took it seriously. I studied, rehearsed, and made sure that Leather was authentic, not just some caricature of a rocker. I wanted her to be believable. The character of Leather Tuscadero quickly became a fan favorite, a confident, independent woman who fronted her own band and didn't take nonsense from anyone, especially the men. In the male-dominated entertainment world of the 1970s, this was a bold and rare portrayal. I didn't realize it at the time, Suzi reflected, but Leather represented something really important for young women. She wasn't somebody's girlfriend. She was her own person with her own talent, her own music, her own dreams. A lot of girls wrote to me back then saying, you showed me that I could be strong too. That meant everything to me. But her time on Happy Days wasn't always easy. What people don't know, she revealed, is that I was dealing with exhaustion from touring while filming the show. I'd fly in from London, shoot for a week, and then go back on the road. There were times when I barely slept. I loved the experience, but nearly broke me physically. Suzi also admitted that at times she struggled to balance her identity as a serious musician with her growing image as a television personality. I didn't want to be seen as a novelty act. She said, I was a musician before I was an actress, and I didn't want the TV role to overshadow that. I wanted to keep my credibility in the rock world. Quattro also shed light on her interactions with the Happy Days cast, including Henry Winkler, who played the iconic Fonza. Henry was a sweetheart, she said warmly. He made me feel welcome from day one. We had great chemistry, and that made filming so much fun, but I was also a bit intimidated because everyone on set was so polished, so professional. I was this rock chick walking into their world. She paused, then smiled. But you know what? By the end, I felt like family. We all had so much respect for each other. Despite her fond memories, Suzi also admitted she passed on several offers to return to Happy Days full-time. They wanted to make Leather a regular character, she said. But I couldn't do it. My heart was on stage, not in front of a studio audience every week. I had to follow the music. That's where I belonged. Looking back now, she doesn't regret the decision. It was the right call, she added. I love that Leather came in, made her mark, and then rode off into the sunset. That's how I like to remember her. Fierce, free, and unforgettable. Suzi Quatro's reflections on Happy Days are more than just a nostalgic trip down memory lane. They offer a glimpse into the resilience and authenticity that have defined her entire career. Even now, she continues to perform, record, and inspire new generations of musicians. People always ask if I do